Am I the a-hole for saying my mom's cheating did make her a worse parent? Last year, my dad found out my mom was cheating on him and they broke up. Mom moved in with her affair partner Ron, and she tried to carry on like nothing happened. With me, 16 female, and with my brother, 13 male, she was expecting nothing to have changed, but I didn't want to see her. I told my dad, who told his lawyer, who told the judge, and the judge ordered therapy for me and my mom together to work it out. And right now, that once-a-week therapy is the only time I see my mom. My brother has to go to mom's house every other weekend despite not wanting to. Mom has told me this is because he sees my reaction and copies me. And if I were to stop acting like she did anything bad to me and fixed our relationship, she'd have both kids willingly in her life now. In the almost year since we started therapy, we have been to see 3 different therapists assigned by the same judge. The most recent one we just started having appointments with a month ago, and it was suggested I engage just a little in therapy at some point to help get my point across directly to mom. I decided to do this after we switched. The new therapist didn't just ask dumb questions like the others about why I'm mad at my mom or why I don't want to forgive her. Instead, the therapist let mom do her talking, which was all about how unfair this is, how she was always a great mom to me and my brother, and how we should not be treating her different because of how her marriage ended, that she never failed in her duty as a parent to the 2 of us, and her heart is broken by the fact she can be so easily discarded, and how unfair she finds it that we won't give her affair partner a chance. Then the therapist asked me if I had anything to say to the things my mom said, and I told her I did. For the first time, I said exactly how I felt, and I told mom directly. I said that yes, mom cheated on dad and their relationship is their relationship. But I pointed out how cheating creates a broken home, one that is full of pain and anger, and does damage that can't be brushed away. I pointed out that mom didn't think about me and my brother when she chose to betray dad and hurt him, nor the impact it would have on us to go from our parents together to mom being with someone else immediately. I said people talk about how kids need time after divorce or death to adjust to the transition, and cheating takes away from that because typically the people who had the affair move in together immediately, and I said that happened here. I said I went from having a normal, happy family to finding out it was not as happy as I expected because clearly mom wasn't happy, to then being told my parents were divorcing and realizing that my mom had hurt dad, and that mom expected me to live with her and the person she destroyed our family to be with. I told my mom I don't see her the same way anymore. She's not someone to admire because she's not honest. She doesn't care about hurting the man who gave her 2 kids or hurting her 2 kids. I told her I would never want to be like her now, and that's hurtful to realize. I said she can talk all she wants about how she did nothing to us, and the more she does, the more she angers me because she did. She caused so much upheaval in our lives and expected us to just go with it? I told her the fact she expects me to be nice to Ron is insanity, and that I felt like she was selfish for refusing to see why me and my brother would feel that way. I said she even wanted to blame me for my brother's feelings instead of herself. I said, so mom saying this never changed her parenting is wrong. I said it made her a worse parent because of everything I said, and I told my mom and the therapist that my view is pretty freaking set, and I'm not open to seeing if it can change. I took up the rest of our appointment, so mom didn't get to address it, but she looked mad. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Your mom doesn't want to accept the consequences of her actions. If you and your brother just brushed off what she'd done and accepted her and her affair partner, she could keep telling herself the cheater's lie, which is that what she did wasn't crappy, selfish, and thoughtless. No, what really happened was that she met her soulmate, its true love, and she's going to live happily ever after. And everyone who doesn't go along with that is just holding her back and refusing to let her be happy. So they're the crappy, selfish, thoughtless ones, not her. She's angry because you've not only made it clear that there are consequences, you've also told her why. The truth is that cheaters are liars. They are selfish. They betray their family and not just their spouse. When they decide that their affair partner is worth breaking the family apart for, and they act like them being happy with their affair partner undoes all the pain and hurt that they caused. You and your brother are angry and hurting because of her, and she doesn't want to hear it because it means that in addition to being a crappy wife and a dirty cheater, she's also a crappy mom who has caused her kids pain and made them think infinitely less of her. You've knocked her off her high horse, and she's angry about it. You're not the a-hole. You told her the truth, especially the part about her not thinking about you and your brother. If she had considered either of you for even a second, she'd have realized this would be a potential outcome. Not the a-hole. Cheating isn't just about the relationship. It affects the whole family. If her actions caused emotional harm, tension, or instability at home, it's fair to say it impacted her parenting. Being a parent means putting your kids' well-being first, and betrayal can seriously damage that trust. Not the a-hole. When a parent cheats, they cheat on their kids too. It is a huge breach of trust. It not only changes your relationship views with them, but it shapes how you view your own romantic relationships. It is impossible to forgive someone when they won't apologize and try to invalidate your feelings. Your mom is a very selfish person. She will end up with both of you no contact, blame everyone else, but only have herself to blame. She already blames Dad, and now me, so I guess it'll be interesting to see who she blames next. She'll start blaming your brother next, and after him, she may also start blaming the affair partner. She won't take accountability for her own actions, though. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not telling my ex his passport was revoked and causing him to miss his flight? My ex and I have been divorced for 2 years. We have 2 kids, 8 male and 5 female. Everything was great until our daughter was born, and then it's like a switch flipped and he was a completely different person. I held out for as long as I could, but when he began an affair, I filed for divorce. He fought me every step and it took over a year to finalize. During the divorce, I was awarded primary custody. He was ordered to pay support, which he has never done. I don't need it, but it would be nice to have it to save for the kids, so I did sign up for enforcement. I don't badger him about it. I know to him it's a way to try to get me to talk to him. I just let enforcement do their thing. Since he's so far behind, they have suspended just about everything they can. They send notices to him when this happens, but I'm sure he doesn't open them. I am a first-generation American, and most of my extended family still lives abroad. My grandmother recently passed away earlier this year, and I decided I wanted to visit my family with my kids and see her resting place. Ex and I had some back and forth because I need permission from him to leave the country. He agreed, but made a point to tell me that he feels now is a good time to take a vacation and that he was always planning to visit my family's country. I was already anticipating this because following us is something he does every time I take the kids on a trip. My lawyer drafted a document to be signed and notarized that I was being given permission to take our kids out of the country for these specific dates. She also included a clause that he has up until 72 hours prior to the day of travel to revoke his permission. He agreed. The day arrives for us to leave, and I get to the airport with the kids 3 hours before our flight. Things go smoothly, and I take the kids to a diner to grab some breakfast. Ex arrives much later, and as we're finishing up, I get a call from him. Turns out his passport was revoked due to lack of child support payment. He was denied at check-in, and there's no way he can get his passport reinstated without paying his arrears in full. He said that since he can't go, he no longer gives me permission to take them. I reminded him that we are past the 72 hours for him to deny my travel request. He said that he was going to inform an officer that I was trying to kidnap his children. I told him to do whatever he felt was necessary. Officers did show up at the gate to figure out what was going on, but I had the notarized agreement with me, so they sent us on our way. He kept spamming my phone non-stop until we got on the plane, where I was able to turn it off and get some peace for the flight. While we were in the air, he called my brother to complain. We met through him and they're still friends, and I have now been given an earful about how cruel it was for me to continue with the trip, knowing he wouldn't be able to follow us, and that I didn't tell him on purpose. My mother told him to stay out of it, and that it's no longer my responsibility to remind him to open his mail. But some extended family agree with my brother. I don't think I'm the a-hole for continuing our trip. But I am questioning whether I'm an a-hole for not giving him a heads up that he should check his passport. I didn't know it was revoked for sure, but I suspected. Am I the a-hole? Edit to add, because I keep seeing this and I can't keep up with the comments. He can absolutely afford child support. He is self-employed, hence no garnishment unfortunately, but does well. Him not paying is solely a control tactic. He was not happy about the divorce. Now he does whatever he thinks will punish me for going through with it. That includes purposely withholding support. However, I make decent money, enough to pay bills, put a little savings away for the kids, and take them to do fun stuff a couple times a year. So it really doesn't affect me. He knows that the money would go right to the kids' savings accounts, but expects me to beg him for it. Eventually, it will catch up to him and he'll have to pay it some way or other. It's just him prolonging the inevitable and making things more difficult for himself. Also, I don't know why this isn't clear, at least for one person that keeps falsely stating it over and over on different comments, but we were not going on vacation together at all. Nothing was planned together. This was solely a trip for me and the kids. The document stated it was for me and the kids, and that I would be taking full responsibility for them. It was not and never was a we are taking the kids on vacation. That was made extremely clear to him and he understood. So him being unable to leave the country for his vacation had absolutely no bearing on our trip as they were two distinctly separate travel arrangements. Not the a-hole. Some people hate that there are consequences to his actions. He is the one who didn't pay his child support, thinking that he was somehow punishing you. Child support is for the children, so his not paying makes him an a-hole since they are innocents in all this. The fact that he got his passport revoked is entirely on him. He can moan and complain about it, but it all comes back to his actions. And why would it be on her to tell him his passport was revoked, even if she were notified about it? That's entirely between him and the court. Not the a-hole. You and your lawyer played this well. You're using these antics to revisit custody arrangements, yes? He made a false police report, is in arrears on child support, has been harassing you. He's showing himself to be a danger. He already doesn't see them terribly often. He has every other weekend and every Wednesday night. But I did make sure to not block him or anything, so that one, he can't try to claim I was keeping the kids from being able to contact him, and two, I could keep texts and voicemails with the name calling, and the threats that he was going to file for full custody and make it so I never see our kids again. You should use the court-recommended co-parenting app for all communication if you find him too annoying. I'm surprised his driver's license hasn't been revoked too, but maybe that depends on the state. In North Carolina, you lose it after not paying for 6 to 12 months and will get arrested at some point. His license is suspended, but we live in a city with really good public transportation that he uses most of the time, so it's not a huge deal to him. But I'm sure it wouldn't stop him from driving with it the way it is anyways. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom I always knew my dad was the reason I wasn't a bone marrow donor for my half-sister? So the donating stuff happened 12 years ago. I, 20 female, was 8 at the time. My parents were divorced and shared custody of me, my older brother, and my younger brother. Mom was remarried and had my half-sister Evie with her husband. Evie was born with leukemia, and at first they thought other treatments had worked, but then she needed bone marrow. They couldn't find a match in the adults in both sides of her family, and there were no matches on the donor list. So, my mom wanted to test me and my brothers. Our dad said no, and Mom went behind his back and got us tested, and I was the only match. Dad wasn't okay with that, and he made sure Mom went no further. I did some research a few years ago, and I realized that this is already sort of uncertain territory, and the only reason I would have been considered is because of the sibling angle, but kids are typically not allowed to be bone marrow donors. I was kept out of it at the time, as were my brothers. But my older brother and I knew what was going on. We weren't young enough to not at least figure some stuff out. My younger brother knew Mom and Dad fought a lot, but wasn't aware of all the details. In the end, my dad stopped me from being a donor. It did have long-lasting effects, and my mom and her husband hate my dad for it. My mom had a big problem with me and my brothers having a good relationship with Dad as we got older, and she was upset we all chose to live primarily with him in our mid to late teens. The fact me and my younger brother live with Dad still bothers her so much more. And she asked me how I could live with him recently, and she told me all about Dad stopping me from donating bone marrow to my half-sister. Mom talked about it like I was supposed to be angry at Dad. She clearly still is. She said my half-sister's long-term health could have been so much better if she'd gotten the transplant way sooner than she did, and been able to recover faster. I know that was mentioned that she was sick for too long to fully recover in a way that didn't have a lifelong impact. But anyway, Mom was ranting about Dad and how he stopped me, and I told Mom I knew. Mom didn't look like she believed me at first, but I told her I always knew. Mom raged at me for the best part of an hour, and yeah, I let her. And then she asked me how I could make the decision to live with my dad after that. I told her he made the right decision, and I was glad he did it. I was glad he fought for me. My mom told me she couldn't look at me and didn't know how to handle me being her daughter anymore. She told me it was disgusting, and then she said my poor half-sister would be crushed to know how I felt. After that, my brothers told her they knew too. My younger brother said he found out in his teens, and it made sense. So Mom's basically disowned us all now, and she said there's something heartless about us. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. You were a kid. Your dad protected you. That's not heartless, it's love. I feel this way, but my mom doesn't. Then again, I think her priority in this argument is my half-sister, and not me or my brothers. I'm glad your dad stood up for you and took that burden off you. He became her villain to be your hero. Not only did he protect you from the surgery, he took the brunt of her anger for all those years, so it wouldn't be deflected onto you. He also stopped her from pressuring or guilt-tripping you into donating. He said no, so you wouldn't have to. Now that it's all out in the open, I hope you've thanked him for protecting you for all those years. Wow, this honestly broke my heart to read. Your mom's grief is real, sure, but you were 8. And bone marrow donation isn't a little scrape on the knee, it's a serious medical thing. I get that she was desperate to save her kid, any parent would be, but blaming you and basically punishing all her kids for a decision two adults made? That's not okay. Your dad might have made a hard call, but in my opinion, it sounds like he was protecting you. You were a child. You don't deserve to be made the villain in this story. Yes, Dad's priority was to protect his kids. Mom knows my half-sister wasn't the main concern or priority for Dad, but she was for Mom and her husband. And we were not a primary or even a secondary concern for Mom. She would have expected us to do it no matter what.